And I'll start off, Artis. So real quick, guys. Don't have an injury update from Reggie yet. Our players are still trickling in. There's as you guys can imagine, unbelievable job by our guys last night to find a way. Certainly wasn't the cleanest or the prettiest, but I think it was a statement from the guys to be able to bond together, make enough plays to be able to get it done. Now we got to figure out the logistics of this week. It's basically like kind of a modified Thursday approach. Guys, are going to have to turn their bodies over quickly. We're having to reshuffle a lot of the facilities to make sure that we accommodate all the things with safe protocols. And so want to be able to answer all your questions, but it is we are flying and trying to make sure that I handle all the things that are necessary in the meantime. So guys, go ahead. Let's keep it quick.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Lindsay.
Sean, you actually just answered both of my questions. So I'll give it back to Artis.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome.
Jordan.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Hey, Sean, just wondering, I know you don't have an update from Reggie yet, but in terms of the levels you've checked on some of the guys in recent days, do you have a sense that you might get a couple guys back who have been out this last weekend?
I think that's the hope, Jordan. What I would say is the levels have not really been indicative of when you can expect guys to come back or not, because Von Miller was somebody that I would have never guessed was going to be available, and he did. So those levels are very misleading based on some of the potential projections. So I put zero stock in those levels based on how the last couple of days have come about. But Obo and Burgess were cleared this morning. Those are two guys to add to the list. Rob Havenstein's 10-day window expired, so he is back. And then we're continuing to get the results of the other guys that are still out.
And then just a quick clarification too. So you guys are still working remotely this week, or are you planning to be at the facilities?
No, I want to be able to get the guys in and try to make sure that we have safe precautionary measures to do stuff in person where you can, have all those measures in alignment with making guys feel comfortable. But I think it's very important if we can in a safe setting to get the guys in person. You get so much more out of the meetings and the interpersonal interactions that can occur there, especially with condensing, especially with us having to really condense 4 days of prep into 2. So this is very similar to a Thursday game, given the fact that Saturday's Christmas. Want to be considerate of giving guys some time with their families on that morning before we travel as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Kevin.
Hi, Sean. Is it too soon to ask for a general take on the challenge of the Vikings?
It is, yeah. It's I'm going to start really getting into that. It's been a whirlwind, so yes, I'm not prepared to probably answer that in a fair manner.
I get it. Bryson Hopkins got his first NFL catch yesterday. What's gone into his development? More than a year.
Yeah, Wes Phillips has done a great job with him, Kevin. He's got skills. He's a strong, explosive, twitchy athlete. Thought it was a big-time play that he made on third down. Being able to run a shallow cross, he kind of ended up winning at the line of scrimmage on his release. Matthew gave him a good ball and turned a 4 or 5 yard catch in at 9 yards and then moved the sticks. So, hopefully we'll continue to just see him grow. He's gotten a lot more snaps these last couple of weeks and was happy for him to be able to get that one under his belt.
And then just quickly, Darrell Henderson, coming back from the injury and the other stuff, took a couple of shots, even without an injury report. Did you get a sense he came out of it pretty well?
Yeah, he was good. One of those was kind of a misleading where you catch a check down, you get off balance, and you're kind of getting ready to square your shoulders up, and you get caught off guard, and it looks like a bigger shot than really what it is. He's a tough guy. I think more than anything, it was just getting his win underneath him yesterday. But Sony, we were kind of riding the hot hand. Sony did a great job, but you can expect Darrell to get healthier and healthier and look more and more explosive, with his opportunities moving forward.
Very good. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Gary.
Hey, Sean, please keep your eyes on the road and ears open while you're doing this. If you're actually
thanks for your concern, Gary.
That's right. We don't want to be responsible for anything. So
yes, I appreciate that.
In terms of what you guys are going through and will continue to go through now that you're heading to Minnesota and possibly into the next week against Baltimore, is this situation in some way, I don't want to say a good thing, but in terms of enabling your team to kind of rally and bond and whatever? as you move forward?
Yeah, I think that's the only way that you can look at it, because that's the hand that you're dealt, and these are the circumstances that we're having to deal with in the moment. In an ideal world, would you like to be able to get some more time on the grass, fundamentals, techniques, things of that nature? Of course, but we've got to maximize the things that we can control and maximize really the moment. And so I think the guys have done a good job rallying around one another. If anything, a lot more guys have gotten an opportunity to contribute than maybe in another situation or scenario other than really injuries. So our guys have handled it really well. And it's one of those deals that it's out of our control. So we're going to do the best we can with that hand that we're dealt. And here comes another week for no excuses, but we just got to be able to manage it in the best way to give ourselves a chance to go get our 11th win against a great football team in the Minnesota Vikings.
And then Kevin, mentioned Bryson Hopkins, but Bobby Evans, in the last few weeks, you've had other players, kind of unsung guys, step up. Just in terms of the depth of your roster and roster makeup, what has that kind of allowed you to do in terms of getting contributions from all these guys?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys have been asked to step up. I mean, you look at Bobby Evans, I thought he competed well. Certainly it wasn't perfect by any stretch, but, he's a tough kid. He's resilient. And for him to really come in where the only thing he was able to do was a walkthrough, in essence, the day before the game, and then play right tackle, where he really has been kind of working on the interior parts of the line. I think it's a real credit to him. And, Les and his group have helped really establish the depth. And I think Kevin Carberry deserves a lot of credit as well. You look at the way Coleman Shelton played in the 2 weeks that Brian Allen missed. It's good getting Brian back. You look at the way that Bobby Evans was able to step in, the way Joe Noteboom stepped up. So we've had a lot of key contributions from really some of the depth on our line in particular that I think has really been a great reflection of that group, but also Carberry and Zach Cromer and Nick Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Greg.
Hey, Sean, Jalen made the point last night that it's not that he doesn't need practice, but he's been doing this long enough and he knows this system well enough that he can come into a situation like this and do the best he can in this situation. And I was assuming that's true of a lot of the players that you have on this roster as well, particularly the veterans who had to go through this. Can you speak to the way they've approached this and the way they've handled the uncertainty of the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been really impressive, Greg. I think there's a real credit to the above the neck approach and the guys that know how to apply it. I think that's one of the things that is really a great separator between these veterans, these great players done it at a high level, than some of these young players. Very instrumental and play ball within the framework of your assignment, snap in and snap out. Jalen is he's a rare outlier that can come in and do those types of things. But I think Jalen would be the first to tell you he loves to practice. When you watch the way this guy competes, he knows that these are options for him to be able to get better, perfect his craft. And even whether it's Aaron, whether it's Jalen, Matthew, Cooper, all of our best players, those guys would still tell you that the work throughout the course of the week is vital, but there are some rare guys that can come out and still play at a really high level, even in the absence of that work. And Jalen is certainly one of them.
And from your perspective, in general terms, how much did not knowing who was going to be in uniform until yesterday limit your game planning and the ability to build in sophistication into your schemes on both sides of the ball? Just for the layman, how much did that hurt you guys as a coaching staff?
I don't want to make an excuse. We kind of had two plans in place, so we were a little bit more, I don't want to say vanilla, but you were a little bit more limited in terms of some of the inventory and different things that you can explore. But, that was the approach that we took, and we found a way, and our players ultimately found a way to deliver and get it done. What this week looks like is what we're in the midst of figuring out. But there were some challenges, but I thought our coaches and our players handled it really well, Greg. And, that's a credit to them.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
All right, we got two last ones, Dennis and Kevin. Dennis, you're muted.
Coach McVay, good morning.
Morning, Dennis.
Why has Cooper been able to thrive so much this season than in the past?
Well, I think like any great player, they're so conscientious. He's extremely talented, but the way that he works at it, you can't help but get better. I always talk to our players, Dennis, you either get better, you get worse, you never stay the same. Cooper is a guy that the way that he intentionally approaches every single day, you can't help but get better. And then I think, he's just such a great football player. He's got such a high football IQ. He's got the ability. And then I think he and Matthew have a really special rapport. He is so smart. We're able to move him around and get him in a variety of different spots. But he and Matthew have a great rapport. I think the other 10 guys around him have played well. But it's just a real credit to everything that goes into becoming a special player and really seeing, it all come to fruition like he's done in these 14 games up to this point.
And my final question is that how critical is that for the growth of a wide receiver to have a great relationship with their quarterback?
It's vital. I mean, you look at it, any great connection, you see a great rapport that exists. Whether you look at Cooper and Matthew, whether you look at Rodgers and Devontae Adams, I mean, any great pairing, there's a great rapport that exists. It's vital to be able to have anything that is sustainable over time. And certainly it looks like those two guys are off to a great start their first 14 games together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last one, Kevin.
Sean, with the rain coming, was practicing at SoFi still a possibility?
Yeah, that's kind of part of what I'm dealing with. I don't think so. I got to find out a little bit more about that. But, we're in the midst of trying to get this 10 up because we'll be limited in terms of the type of practice that it'll be with, really for these guys' body clocks. Tomorrow will really be like a Tuesday. So not thinking that. And really on Friday being Christmas Eve, there's some obstacles that I think will get in the way. And I'm hopeful that we'll still be able to get our work done at the facilities, but I am in the midst of working through that as we speak.
I get it. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.